Welcome back to the Sports Source. This segment brought to you by Madisonville Marine. When it comes to huge savings on boats, well, they got deals going on right now. G3, Skeeter, Hurricane, more and more and more. Plus, buy a Yamaha outboard motor right now and get a free 3-year extended warranty, which makes 6 years on 30 horsepower motors and up. Got to buy it before December 15th, but what an incredible deal. That's up to a 6-year warranty on Yamaha outboard motors. Madisonville Marine, there's no better place to buy a moat or a motor. madmarine.com to learn more. Highway 411 North in Madisonville. Get down there and see Joe Special and the team. Tell them we said hey. All right, back with Chuck Cavaleris here. Josh Ward is over at our orange glass board. Every week he kind of looks big picture, and this week going to take a look at where Tennessee stands in their bowl outlook after yesterday. Josh, what do you got?
Yeah, and I think when we get to the end of this, might be some orange-colored glasses with the projection. I think it could still work out okay for Tennessee with where the Vols go in a few weeks. They need to get a win against Vanderbilt to close out the season. Get to Georgia, that's going to be tough. But I've already written in where I don't think Tennessee will go. We looked at this recently, entering the month of November, and I still don't expect Tennessee in Charlotte at the Duke's Mayo Bowl because they're going there early next season. They went to the Music City a couple of years ago. They started the season in Nashville. So I think other teams end up there. And if you look at record projections right now, which we have at the top left of the board here, Tennessee's still in an okay position because Ole Miss or Missouri is likely in a New Year's Six. We're projecting Missouri to go there right now. But one of those two spots, which then sends the other one to the Citrus, which I still think leads Tennessee to the state of Florida. Not to the Citrus, that would be a better option, but either the ReliaQuest, formerly the Outback Bowl, or back to Jacksonville, where they were just a few years ago for the Gator. I still think Tampa, with the ReliaQuest, formerly the Outback Bowl, is a realistic position for Tennessee. So the Missouri loss is disappointing. Georgia's going to be a tough game. 8-4 might be disappointing from preseason projections by a lot of people, but the end result can still be okay for Tennessee.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Josh, I know you took a look at where teams' records were last year and what bowls they wound up in, so factored that into it. I was a little surprised by the list, but when you look at it, where Tennessee falls, it's still a good shot at Tampa, which isn't a bad bowl game.
No.
And the thing is, if you finish 8-4, that's still upper half of the SEC, so it would make sense. Chuck, you've already put together your line for the Tennessee-Georgia game.
Yes, sir.
I've already seen it. You'll be relaying that to people later in the show. What kind of things did you think about when you factored that line together?
Well, I tell you what, watching their game last night for Georgia to get tight end Brock Bowers back, that is huge. Not only is he the best tight end in the country, he could be the best college football player in the country.
Although Cody Schrader looked pretty good to me yesterday, but yeah, okay.
But I mean, it's like 26 days after a high ankle sprain at Vanderbilt, and he had that tightrope surgery, John. That's pretty controversial.
Yeah.
But it's amazing for him to get back. And even though he missed 2 games, he was still their leading receiver. Yesterday, 3 catches, 1 for a touchdown. So he can open things up for the other players on their offense just by being on the field.
All right, and the other thing you've got.
Well, I mean, unfortunately for the Georgia fans out there, it's linebacker Jamon Dumas-Johnson. We got to talk about him. Fractured forearm. They put a rod in it. That was hurt in the game against Missouri.
Yep.
He's not going to be back. He's so key because he's their defensive signal caller. And you could tell that in one series when Georgia had 12 players on the field against Ole Miss scored a touchdown. So Georgia has the talent at linebacker. Kirk Herbstreit pointed that out last night.
Yeah.
Those linebackers are going to get better. But it's how soon they can do that, especially on the road at Tennessee.
And does Tennessee do they have the weaponry this year to make Georgia pay for that kind of a thing? That's the question. So you look at something that could work against Georgia, but boy, they seem to be getting better. That's the thing. We talked about coaches earlier.
Yes.
Saban, Smart, Saban. We talk. I got a text from someone saying, "Well, can Tennessee really be elite with this kind of offense?" What's elite? Other than Saban and Smart, who in this country is elite? And the thing about those two, they seem to get better at the end of the year every year.
Exactly. Well, and right now Georgia's leading the SEC offense and defense. And even though last year that defense held teams to 10 points a game, it's all the way up to 15.
Oh, yeah, they suck.
So, boy, that's a huge drop-off, right?
All right, very good, Chuck. When we come back, Love this question. This is interesting. What's the bigger concern about Josh Heupel's team? Big picture. We got a lot of time to discuss this. Is it the fact they have struggles on the road? Is it the fact that they have trouble coming from behind? We got some numbers. I'll share them at the end of the segment after everyone was answered, just so I can say, gotcha. Come on back on the Sports Source.